Hello everyone, it's December 21st, 2017, and it has been quite a long time since you've heard from me. I attempted to do a live stream a couple days ago, and that ultimately just failed due to restrictions on my own end. So I'll fill you in on some things that have been happening recently. Again, don't know if I've mentioned this, but I'll mention it again. I have moved into a house, and as you can see, there's the little doorway to my lair over here, and I've got pretty much all of this storage and this entire room to use for myself. It is intended as a storage room, but I'm putting a computer on the front of that, computer storage room. So yeah, I've got a desk down here, I've got all my server stuff down here, and I've got a bunch of projects down here as well. So I don't even know where to start. We'll just start on the desk here. So a couple projects that I've been working on recently. This is an Apple IIgs, and yes, it actually is an Apple IIgs. The keen of you who know about Apple IIs will know this looks nothing like a 2GS. This looks like a 2E, and it is indeed a 2E upgrade, which means, let's get this MacBook Air out of the way, which means that it used to have a 2E motherboard in it, and it was swapped out or upgraded to a 2GS board, and this is a factory option. Well, I shouldn't say aftermarket upgrade, but it was done from Apple. We can see there maybe it says Apple IIe upgrade, or 2GS upgrade. So this was actually done by Apple, and it's one of very few, apparently, that were ever actually upgraded, because either you got this, or you got an Apple IIgs, and I guess monetarily, it made more sense to get a 2GS. There wasn't really any kind of benefit to getting this one upgraded. It would have cost about the same, and you would have had to buy some extra components, I think. There just wasn't much of a reason to do it, but somebody did, and now I've got a hold of it. I've got a rather convoluted way of displaying this, because I don't actually have any monitors that accept composite, and I have an adapter that goes from the video out to VGA, but none of my monitors accept a 15 kHz signal, so none of them can actually display this. This only just displays it, but unfortunately it only shows up in black and white, which is, well, grayscale, I guess. It's not correct, but I get something out of it, so that's okay. So I've been working on that. I'm going to get some expansion cards and try some stuff out. I just purchased a floppy disk drive, which I'm kind of frustrated with because I can't figure out how to make floppies for it. Making floppies would normally be done in here, which is, actually, I noticed this just the other day. This is a 2 megabyte floppy drive. I've never seen one of those. I've only seen the 1.44s. But this is my Performa, oh, what the hell is it? It's not plugged in. PowerMac 7300 with the G3 Sonnet upgrade card. This is what I was going to use to create floppies, and I can read the 800K floppies, and yes, this is an 800K external drive. I've got the plastics back here because I was taking it apart. But I can't figure out how to actually put that image on the disk. I've tried using Disk Utility, but all the file extensions of the disk that I've downloaded, they're like, I can't even remember what they are. They're a file format I've never heard of, and not many other people have either, apparently. I can't figure out how to get it onto a floppy disk. So I wanted to make a disk to boot ProDOS or just something else on here, and I was really unable to get it to work because I couldn't get that image on there. However, I did find out that there is an ADT Pro version, or maybe an alternate, that works on Mac OS 9. So I was able to connect this through the modem port to this modem port and actually send ADT software over that onto here. So then it booted up and I can actually send software to it, which is really cool. But it's not ideal because it takes about 10 minutes for it to eventually get to a point where it's usable. So I'm working on making floppies. If anybody knows of any kind of repository of 2GS software that I would be able to put on an 800K floppy, let me know, and I'll try to make some more tonight. Ideally, I mean, this is the only thing I have that can burn 800K floppies, so it has to be I have to be able to do it on a Mac OS 9 machine. Oh, this is an interesting one. So this is my Dell, this is a new acquisition. It's a Dell Ultrascan P991. It's a 19-inch big ol' CRT. It's got a Sony Trinitron tube in it, and I actually fixed it. I didn't know CRTs were something you could fix, and I have no idea why. So if we look at it right now, once it warms up, did I turn it off again? Yes, I did. I tried to unstick the power button and I turned it off. We'll see that the screen, now it still does have a minor issue, but this is a lot better than it was. The screen is actually black, and you can't see the line where it kind of ends over here. The issue that it had was that the brightness was way too high, and I learned a lot recently about repairing CRTs and adjusting values through the serial port that's built into these. There's actually, kind of on the back underneath there, there's a header that has 4 pins on it, and you can actually use I have one here, one of these. Your little USB to TTL adapter, I think is what it's called. And you hook this up to the monitor, and then using some very ancient software on only Windows XP and older, I'm actually able to edit values within the EEPROM, or EEPROM, on this monitor. So the issue with it was, not only was it very bright, which made everything very white and washed out, but it also would show color bands. So, like a red, green, and a blue, very thin lines, and they would run across the screen kind of at an angle, all the way down. And I guess this is what some people refer to as the G2 problem, which is the setting I had to change was the G2 value. So yeah, I got this to work almost 100%. After it warms up, it works perfectly, and it's a beautiful, beautiful monitor. I've wanted to get my hands on one of these for a very long time because I'd used them in the past, and I was always very happy with the picture quality, and I just haven't been able to find one that worked. So I finally did, and that was really cool. Which reminds me, this box, I got this monitor for free off Craigslist. Some guy wanted to get rid of it. This box is one the guy actually built for this monitor so his daughter could take it to college, which tells you how long he's had it. He is the original owner. So I could take the top off, but I've got a Mac on the top. If we take a look in there, we can see there's all the padding and structure for holding the monitor in place. It's even got, foam pads down there so it doesn't get scratched. And it fits perfectly in there, and it's got handles on it. So that was actually really neat. I really did not expect to get a little box or carrying case with this monitor, but I did, so that was cool, and I guess it doubles as a nice little table. Other projects I have going on. This is a Macintosh Plus. Now, I did something silly, and I joined the website shopgoodwill.com. If you haven't been there, first make sure you have money in the bank and then go search for some things you want, because they actually have some pretty good deals on there. I bought a bunch of things, and I didn't think I was going to get any of them. I just kind of put in a really low bid, and only like one other person bid, and that was it. So I got this, which is It's an M00 or 0100. Yes, M0110 keyboard. It doesn't have a cable, but these things are actually pretty damn difficult to find now. They're not impossible. You can definitely find them, and they're not terribly expensive. But for 10 bucks, hell yeah, that is a hell of a deal. I don't know if it works, but you know what? Even if it doesn't, still pretty cool. I can probably fix it if it doesn't. All the keys are there. All of them work. Really cool find. And in that same auction, actually I haven't even taken these out because they're pretty disgusting. There are two mice in here. I've got one of these older Mac mice, which is an M0100, and it seems to be pretty dirty, but you know, it is what it is. And another newer ADB mouse. I don't know if these were actually all, like, they came in together as one, but they were all sold separately. You know, this was a lot, and this was its own. So, oh, and also that 800K floppy drive, that was another thing. And they all kind of go with this machine, so I'm not sure if they came in all together and these people just sold them separately or what. I got sidetracked. I was telling you about the Mac Plus, and then I forgot what I was saying. So it doesn't work right now. It attempts to power on. I can hear something click, but there's no chime, there's no video, and just nothing. It doesn't really do much of anything. There was some pretty bad battery corrosion, but it didn't appear to affect any of the analog board or the logic board or anything inside, really. It was just, well, I guess the chassis. It got a little bit rusty. But there was no visible damage to any of the boards, which I'm very thankful for. So I'm going to go and clean this up a little bit later in the week. Try to get rid of that battery acid at the very least, so I can put it on a shelf and do it later if I want. But yeah, that's going to be another project. Probably just needs a recap, quite honestly, and Jesus, I didn't even notice this. As you can see, it needs a retro bright as well. Oh my god, it needs a retro bright. Like, this is actually somewhat yellowed, even though it doesn't look like it right now. This is a totally different color. Holy hell. That's really bad. I guess this mouse is pretty bad too, isn't it? Damn. It's like the same color. Anyway, yeah, that's a project for another time. I'm currently working on, well, I don't know, a lot of things, but one of my main tasks for the end of this 2017 year is to go through all of my older laptops once again and get rid of most of them. I'm going to keep a couple of them, a couple that are kind of cool or of some interest to me, but quite honestly, I've only touched maybe 3 of these things and actually used them since I've had them. And although it would be nice to have all these things of different processor types and specifications for, you know, the future, I don't know, I'd rather just sell them to somebody who actually wants them and who's going to get some kind of enjoyment out of them. All they're going to ever do, quite honestly, is sit in a box or on a shelf. I'm never going to touch them, I'm just going to own them, and that's it. I'm not getting any enjoyment out of that. So I'm going through a bunch of those, letting them go. There's a couple of them that are actually in like really, really good shape, and I don't recall what they are. But yeah, I'll put those up first. I don't know what I'll do, but I'm going to sell a bunch of those. And also, I think it's time to start testing and maybe getting rid of some of my ISA cards. This is an entire bin. You know, there's a half stack of CDs right there, 50 CDs. It's higher than 100 is my unit of measurement now. There's a lot of cards in there, and there are a lot of properly valuable ones in there. Unfortunately, over the years, I've just thrown them all in a bin, and I haven't really been all that careful with them. Here's a video card. This thing, I think last time I looked it up, somebody sold one on eBay, $50. You know, and it's just sitting there. And there's also, where was that other video card? I don't really want to make this stuff scratch other cards too much. I don't know, there's a sound card in there. You know, some of these are something that a lot of people would probably really want. And again, I'm not using them, so... Oh, here it is. Yeah, this thing. This is... I don't even know... Oh, VGA Wonder, that's what it was. Sweet little card. I think I remember a video maybe from LGR or somebody else that went over one of these. Maybe it was Phil's Computer Lab. Yeah. Pretty neat, but I don't want it, and as cool as it would be to hang on to it, I don't need it. I think there's a date of 1988 on there, revision 2. So that's cool, and there's a lot more where that came from. Tons of different controllers. This looks interesting, with all the short pins on it. Like a big difference in the size of those pins. Or contacts, whatever you'd like to call them. Oh, this is, holy shit. I didn't know I had this at all. This actually has a connector for a Winchester drive. Damn. I did not know I had this. 1988 Compaq. Sweet. So yeah, I'm going to be testing these out with my newly recapped board that I lost. I have no idea where it went. Anyway, I've got an all-ISA motherboard. I think it's a 386 machine that I'm going to load up and then test all these cards out with. The server rack has had some changes to it, and I think this is going to be probably the last thing I show you, because I'm running out of SD card space. So now that I'm in my workspace is in this basement, I can run all of my stuff 24/7 and not have to worry about people complaining about the noise or how much heat it produces. So I've got a bunch of Mac Minis down there that I'm going to use for things. They're all Intel Mac Minis, of course. I've got them cabled up all nicely so that I can take my drawer and slide it out and have access to all the connections, and then push everything back in. Really cool. That's a Sun Ultra 24. That is actually the same one that I have on my desk right now. I got those for free. They've got Core 2 Quad 9600 or something. I don't know. Whatever the fastest one was that Intel made, that's what these things have in them. 8 gigs of DDR2. This has a pair of 1 terabyte hard drives in it. And this is going to be my camera server. I'm going to eventually wire in some security cameras outside and inside, just for the hell of it, really. There's no really good reason to do it, I just want to do it. Above that is going to be my virtualization machine. This is, what the heck is it running? I know it's running an i7-3820 and 48 gigs of RAM, because that's just what I had. I don't know what else it has, though. This, I was experimenting with some Mac Minis in there, but that didn't work out, so this is just a space holder at the moment. Placeholder, not space holder. Got a KVM in the switch, and then the newest project was actually this. It's what's probably going to be my final iteration of the NAS for quite some time. This is a system that's running, let's see, how many drives does it have? It has 8 drives, they're each 2 terabytes, but I've got them configured in RAID 6. And RAID 6 isn't something you hear too much about, but while the benefit of it in my situation may not really be that great, it was something I wanted to do. So RAID 6 would be basically a double RAID 5. So with RAID 5, you've got a bunch of disks, so let's say 3 disks Two of them have data, and then one is for parity. So that means you can have one drive drop out, and then that parity disk will be able to keep the RAID array up and running for long enough that you can restore to a new disk and everything will be happy. The RAID 6 does the same thing, except it allows for 2 disk failures. The reason why I went with the RAID 6 instead of a RAID 5 in this case was because I made a decision to go with Seagate drives. I have not had great luck with Seagate drives. However, these are the Seagate Constellation drives, which mean they are enterprise grade, and they even just feel more hefty than the usual Seagate drive. I got 12 of them for a really good deal, and like a really good deal. I would not have bought them otherwise. All tested from a reputable eBay seller. They sell hard drives, and that's pretty much all they do, so I was confident in buying from them. And I haven't had any failures yet, so that's good, even though it only has been up and running for about a month now. So yeah, I got a bunch of storage on there, and honestly, it's more than I will need for quite some time. When the time comes to upgrade, I can put new drives in there, and all will be well. I can reuse that case. I really like this case. So I think the never-ending task of rebuilding my NAS is finally coming to an end, at least for a little while. I can finally put away that project. Other than that, guys, I don't really know what else there is to talk about at the moment. I'm just going to be messing around with some of this Apple stuff tonight, see what I can do, and then, of course, as this is the house that we've just moved into, I've been busy painting. I got a whole bunch of paint all over my sock, which I was annoyed about. So that's what I'm doing otherwise. For those of you who stuck around to the end, thank you, and you'll probably be happy to know that I'm doing well. I'm assuming that people who stick around to the end actually care about watching this video, so yeah, a little bit of personal stuff to interject here at the end. I'm doing well personally. I have a co-op, which is, some people don't know what that means. It's a paid internship, basically. It's essentially a job that is temporary. I've got a job doing IT work for a couple of pretty large companies in the area, and they are going to keep me all spring and all summer, and then possibly offer me, while I continue going to school, a part-time job there, which I will most likely end up taking so long as I like the job. So that's really exciting for me, and they will partially pay for my school as well, which is freaking awesome. That would be great if they can cover some of my school too. Yeah, I guess that's about it. This has been one of the longer vlogs. I'm feeling pretty rambly today, so 23 minutes and a half, I think it's time to end it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will hopefully post some more videos pretty soon, and we'll see you whenever the next video happens to be.